Hi everyone, tonight we're going to have ribs for dinner and I'm going to show you my way of preparing the ribs. And of course the ingredients are very simple and it's also very easy to prepare. All you need is brown sugar. So I'm probably going to be using about a cup and a half of brown sugar, honey, powdered pepper, or black pepper I should say, salt of course. I'm probably going to be using about 2 tablespoonfuls of salt, cayenne pepper, and also I'm using the sauce, barbecue sauce. I'm going to finish this whole thing now because it's been in the fridge for a while. So now we're going to prepare. First thing I did was to wash the ribs and dry it very well with a paper towel. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this thin film. It's like a plastic film at the back of these ribs. So I'm just going to peel it off before I'm going to apply the marinade. So this one here, as you can hear the sound. So I'm going to remove this entirely. And after that, I'm going to prepare the rub. So after removing the film from the meat, what I did, I just cut them into 4 pieces. It's easier for preparation later. And after that, I'm going to mix the rub, and I'm just gonna apply it to all the ribs. Okay, and for the rub, I'm going to mix the freshly ground pepper, the salt, and the cayenne pepper all together. Once all the ingredients are well blended, now it's ready to be applied into our ribs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna rub it really well into the ribs. So we'll do this also, we'll turn it over, so we'll do this to all of these. So guys, my camera's battery has run out and I think the card is already says that it's full as well. So I'm switching to my phone. So yeah, I'm in the middle of applying the rub into the ribs, just massaging it like so. So we'll do this to all of the ribs. We're just gonna be very generous of how much rub we're going to put on to the ribs. And don't forget to turn it over as well and do the same thing on the other side. And now the ribs is ready for baking. So what I did is I preheated the oven to 300 degrees, and I also added water at the bottom of this pan just to ensure that the meat will stay moist when it's done. My baking pan is not that big, but I'll kind of like layer them a little bit. Anyways, the meat will shrink when as they are being cooked. So by the time there's gonna be enough room for all of the meat. Guys, the meat is already on top of the baking pan. So I kind of like I mentioned that I layered them. I should say I put them sort of like on top of each other, And halfway into baking, I'm going to separate all of them, and by the time the meat has shrunk a little bit and there's be enough room on top of the pan. So I'm going to cover this with a foil before I put it in the oven, and ensure that it's tightly sealed. And I'm going to put it for about 2 hours and checking halfway in between. Now our ribs is tightly sealed, and I'm just gonna pop it in the oven. So it's just about more than 2 hours now, just over 2 hours. So we're going to check our ribs. It's looking really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to brush it with sauce on the top. So for the sauce, I'm going to use this Montreal Steak Spice barbecue sauce. I'm going to use everything here because it's almost empty. And also I'm going to add a little bit of honey to the sauce, but this is optional. It's up to you if you want to add honey or not. It should be okay. Just gonna pour everything into this small bowl. And then some honey, probably about 2 tablespoonfuls of honey, and then we'll just mix them all up, and we'll brush this sauce to the ribs. So now I'm brushing the sauce into our ribs. Looks good. So we'll do this to all of the ribs. So I just turned it over. So I'm going to brush the back as well, or the other side of the ribs with the sauce. Now they're all fully brushed with the sauce, so I'm going to turn the heat up or adjust the oven to 400 degrees, and I'll pop the ribs back in the oven. Ribs is done, and it looks really good and smells really good. Now dinner is served. So we're having this pork ribs, potato wedges, and coleslaw salad for dinner. I think the ribs and the potato wedges is perfect with a glass of beer.